I'm sorry, I can't assist with that. The screen flickered, casting an eerie glow in the dim room. Sarah leaned in closer, the air thick with tension. Her heart pounded, a relentless drumbeat. Eyebrows knitted together, she read the words again. I'm sorry, I can't assist with that. The message was brief, but it stung like ice water splashed on her face. What did that mean? Was this a warning? Was someone else aware of her search? Questions spiraled in her mind, and a shudder crept down her spine. She fought to steady her trembling hands, the chill of apprehension gripping her. The walls of her small apartment felt like they were closing in. Outside, the city buzzed with routine chaos, but inside, it was a different world, one fraught with danger. She had uncovered too much. The stories she stumbled upon were gruesome but essential. Reality lurked in the shadows, and she was its unwilling witness. Her phone buzzed, and she jumped. A message from her friend, Jenna. Are you okay? You've been quiet. Sarah's fingers flew across the screen. Jenna, I found something. She hesitated, contemplating whether to reveal everything. It's about the Caliphates, it's bad. She hit send and swallowed hard. The weight of the truth pressed against her chest. Jenna would want to know, but could she handle the darkness Sarah uncovered? Moments later, a reply pinged back. Meet me at the cafe, we need to talk. The urgency in Jenna's message propelled Sarah off the couch. Taking a deep breath, she threw on a jacket, her mind racing with all the things she wanted to share. The streets were alive, people bustling about, unaware of the storm brewing in Sarah's heart. She could feel eyes on her, watchful and penetrating, a sensation that gnawed at her. As she approached the cafe, a tiny bell jingled overhead, but the cozy ambience felt suffocating instead. Jenna was already seated at their usual table, her brow furrowed. You look like you've seen a ghost, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Have you heard about the raid last week? Sarah asked, urgency dripping from her voice. In that village, they captured so many and the things they did to them. Jenna paled, stirring her coffee absent-mindedly. Sarah, stop. I don't want to hear no. You have to. Sarah's voice sharpened, drawing glances from nearby tables. They can't just hide this stuff. People need to know. The words spilled out, a tsunami of horror lapping against the shores of Jenna's composure. Each story Sarah shared was like a dagger, ripping through the surface of their comfy lives. They didn't just conquer, they dehumanized, she breathed, her eyes lit with a dangerous fervor. But as she spoke, something flickered in Jenna's expression, a hint of fear. What if you're putting a target on your back? Sarah paused, the weight of her friend's words sinking in. Panic crept into her thoughts. What if I already have? An unsettling silence enveloped them. Outside, the world continued, ignorant of the quiet war waged inside this cafe. But Sarah felt it, a cold tendril of dread curling at the base of her spine. Then, the door swung open. A chill swept through the cafe as a man stepped inside, cloaked in shadows. His eyes raked over the crowd, landing on Sarah. Her breath caught, and the pounding of her heart echoed in her ears. Had she attracted attention? Too much attention. With a flash of movement, the man turned and disappeared again into the night. Sarah's breath shot out in a panic. Did you see him? Jenna's voice trembled. Who was that? The weight of their fears settled heavily in the air. But that wasn't the question that haunted Sarah. No, it was something deeper, something that lurked just beneath the surface. Was he looking for me? As uncertainty loomed, a bone-chilling realization dawned upon Sarah. She might not be just telling a story. She could be part of one far darker than she'd ever imagined. And as the city continued its routine, little did Sarah know, the true horror was only just beginning. The cafe buzzed with unease, whispers floating like leaves on a gathering storm. Sarah's heart raced, thumping hard against her ribcage, the reality of the man lingering in her thoughts. He had looked straight at her. Did he know? Her palms dampened as she forced herself to breathe. "Let us get out of here," Jenna whispered, her eyes darting nervously. "Wait, I need to tell you what I found." "No." Jenna interjected, her voice rising in urgency. "We need to focus on being safe. We can't risk it." Sarah felt frustration surge, but Jenna's fear was infectious. The shimmer of anxiety reflected from their neighboring tables. Customers glanced their way, curiosity and concern mingling in their gazes. Okay, Sarah conceded, her throat tight. "But we can't just drop this. We need a plan." As if summoned by their conversation, the bell jingled again. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. The man had returned, this time stepping closer with a predatory grace. His presence unfurled like a black cloud, looming ominously beneath the fluorescent lights. Jenna's voice trembled as she pulled Sarah's arm, urging her to move. His eyes skimmed across the room, and Sarah felt a surge of panic. He was near now, dangerously close. She could see him clearly: dark, tousled hair, a heavy coat that concealed something beneath. Heart racing, she could barely suppress her instinct to flee. "Stay calm," Sarah whispered, her voice barely a breath. "We have to act normal." But normal felt like a distant memory. The moment his gaze fixed on theirs, Sarah froze. His mouth twisted into a smirk as he gestured toward her, even through the crowd. Jenna's face paled. "Does he know you?" "I don't think so. But I can't just sit here," Sarah replied, a swell of defiance rising within her. In a flash of courage, Sarah shifted her chair back and stood. "Let us go." But as she tried to move past him, the man stepped into her path, blocking her escape. The laughter and chatter of the cafe faded, replaced by the thudding of her pulse. "You've been asking too many questions, Sarah," he drawled, his voice low and cold. The world around them stilled. The fear that cloaked the cafe was palpable. Jenna's eyes darted around, looking for an exit. "What do you want?" Sarah asked, voice trembling but defiant. He took a step closer, breathing in the fear that radiated from her. "You should know that curiosity can lead to unpleasant consequences." A chill swept through Sarah. She felt smaller, like prey caught in the gaze of a predator. "We need to leave. Now," she urged, grabbing Jenna's arm. But just as they turned, the door slammed shut, the jingle of the bell interrupted by a guttural sound, like thunder in the distance. Panic swept through the cafe. People were scrambling, clattering chairs and knocked over cups, painting chaos against the walls. "What is happening?" Jenna whispered, wide-eyed. "The door, we're trapped." Sarah's heart sank. The man's presence felt like a wall, solid and cold. "You've opened doors that should remain closed, Sarah. And now, you must pay," he said, his tone sugar-coated with menace. Fear curled in Sarah's stomach. Tears threatened to spill, but she swallowed hard, leaning into the intensity of the moment. "We won't let you hurt us," she shot back, fueled by sheer desperation. He laughed, a chilling sound. "Hurt? No, I'm here to offer you a choice." "A choice?" The thought hung in the air like a dark cloud. "What choice?" Jenna asked, fear cracking her voice. "Join us, uncover the truth you seek, or face the consequences for your insatiable curiosity," he replied, eyes glinting with undeniable darkness. Sarah felt the weight of each word pressing down on her. A choice. But it wasn't a choice at all, was it? And as the world around them descended into chaos, a single thought pierced through the fear: in the shadows of truth lurked a dark path. There was no turning back now, but which way would she go? Just then, a loud crash echoed from the back of the cafe, silencing the panic for a heartbeat. Sarah turned, her heart racing anew. What now? The door stood barred, but chaos had its own way of breaking down walls. And as the air thickened with dread, she realized every choice had a price, and that price could be more than she had ever imagined. What lay behind that door? The air crackled with tension as Sarah's gaze swung toward the source of the chaos. It was a heavy shelf that toppled over, sending cups shattering on the floor like glass rain. The sound sent a fresh wave of panic rippling through the cafe. Conversation stopped dead, replaced by the sharp gasps and muffled whimpers of startled patrons. From the shadows of the scattered debris, a dark figure emerged, a silhouette that loomed large against the flickering lights. Broad shoulders, a cap pulled low, a shroud of darkness. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest. Was this another threat or a potential ally in their frantic escape? The man blocking their exit turned slightly, eyes narrowing, as if computing the new danger. "Stay behind me," Sarah hissed at Jenna, taking a step forward despite her quaking legs. The face of the newcomer was obscured, still, she felt something unsettling shift in the pull of the air. The man's laughter still echoed in her mind, taunting and cruel. "Are you two really that naive?" the stranger said, voice smooth as silk but imbued with an edge that made Sarah's skin crawl. He stepped into the light, and she immediately recognized him, a news anchor at a local station, who had captivated audiences with tales of a city spiraling into darkness. Hadn't he reported on the very mysteries that now entangled her life? "What are you doing here?" Sarah demanded. Hands clenched, heart racing for a different reason now. She held tightly to Jenna's arm, pulling her closer. "The truth always finds a way to claw itself back to the surface," he replied, his eyes glinting with an unnerving mix of knowledge and malice. "You've been digging, and digging only uncovers more dirt." "Digging what?" Jenna quivered, her voice barely above a whisper. "What do you know?" A smug smile spread across his face, and for a fleeting moment, something in his demeanor promised secrets wrapped in agony. "You want answers? Come with me, and I'll show you the path. But I warn you, it's not for the faint of heart. The truth will devour you whole." At that moment, the man blocking their escape shifted slightly, casting a wary glance toward the newcomer. "This isn't your show. Stay out of this." The cafe felt trapped in a dance of rival forces, uncertainty dancing between the two men, while a wounded crowd clung to silence. "What is happening?" Sarah shouted, her voice piercing through the tension, propelling her feet forward. "We need to get out of here." "Calm down, Sarah. There's more at stake than you know," the anchor's voice grounded her, steady yet ominous. "You're in a web far bigger than this cafe, and if you leave with him, you'll learn just how deep it goes." Fear mixed with curiosity. Who was she supposed to trust? Trust? The man blocking the exit scoffed, conversation twisting into a confrontation. "You've lost sight of the choice you had. This is about survival now. Stay away from him." The anchor stepped closer, inviting yet foreboding. "Think carefully. Are you ready to embrace the truth? Because the moment you step into that realm, there's no going back." Suddenly, a thunderous crash erupted outside, drawing everyone's attention. The window shattered, scattering shards across the floor, as a shadow exploded into the cafe. The figure darted inside, drenched in chaos. "Run!" screamed a voice from the shadows. "They're coming." But for Sarah, the ground beneath her felt like it was splitting open. Each breath was taxed with panic, fraught with decisions that weighed heavily on her soul. Could she truly follow this man, risk it all for answers? And as fire erupted in the distance, lighting the streets outside like a scarlet warning, she faced the dilemma head-on. Would she let fear dictate her steps, or was it time to uncover the truths shrouded in darkness? "Now!" Jenna grasped Sarah's sleeve, pulling her back as the pandemonium of the cafe reached a peak. "What are you going to decide?" The moment loomed too large to grasp, and she realized the real battle had just begun. Would they escape this web of shadows, or were they destined to be consumed by the chaos? Her heart raced. The doors were still shut, the darkness tightening around them. All she knew was she had to act, and the wrong choice could be fatal. Would they break free, or would the truth pull her deeper into the abyss? The scream echoed off the walls, ricocheting through chaos, but Sarah remained frozen. Her heart thundered, a frantic drumbeat that pushed against her chest as the realization struck this wasn't just a simple escape anymore. The air around her trembled with danger, weaving a tapestry of terror that she couldn't ignore. "Get down!" The shadowy figure yelled again, shattering her paralysis. That powerful voice broke her spell, igniting the flight response buried deep within her. Jenna squeezed Sarah's arm, her hazel eyes wide with terror. "We can't stay here." The anchor moved, his body blocking their path as glass crunched underfoot. "You don't understand what waits outside. Those who have seen the truth are marked. You think running will save you?" A roar erupted from the streets, pushing waves of panic through the crowd. The man who had darted in was shouting something, his voice strained and raw, but the words were lost in the chaos. They were cornered, every direction filled with confusion and fear, the very air thick with uncertainty. "Follow me," the newcomer shouted, as he darted towards the kitchen door. He shot them a look that sparked a sliver of courage within Sarah. Now. Instinct kicked in. They had to move. They didn't know what would happen if they remained another moment in this boiling pot of chaos. In a fluid motion, Sarah grabbed Jenna's elbow and pulled her along, racing after the stranger just as another crash erupted outside. Brilliant flames leaked through shattered windows, licking at the edges of their reality. They ducked into the kitchen, the mix of heat and light creating an eerie glow as they navigated through the clutter. "What is happening?" Jenna's voice trembled, panic edging on hysteria. "Answers lie beyond this door," the dark figure replied, moving swiftly yet deliberately, as if each step was calculated. "But you'll need to trust me." "Trust?" Sarah spat back, a bitter taste in her mouth. "Trust got us here, didn't it?" He stopped, turning to face them fully, revealing the intense fire in his eyes that mirrored the chaos outside. "I know it's hard, but you have to see the bigger picture. Do you want to know why all of this is happening? Why you've been drawn into this nightmare?" The truth hung heavy in the air, thick and sticky like a fog of dread. It was tempting, to open that door to clarity, to see the world unfurl before her, but the lurking shadows whispered doubt. Anguish squeezed at her throat. "Why should we trust someone who has been reporting on this calamity?" Sarah retorted, her throat tight. "Why do you care?" "Because you two are the key," he lowered his voice, urgency wrapping around each word. "I can help you uncover the truth. But you must be willing to risk it all." The kitchen was growing too warm, a fire rising beyond comprehension. Out of the corner of her eye, Sarah spotted some movement, her heart dropping into her stomach as a dark figure loomed nearer. Her breath quickened, desperation clawing at her thoughts. There wasn't much time. "Sarah, we need to make a choice." Jenna yelled, her own voice cracking like glass. "We can't keep hiding." Before she could respond, the kitchen door burst open, and in stormed another dark silhouette, this one far more menacing. The smell of smoke accompanied the newcomer, a suffocating blanket of dread. "Get out!" He shot, eyes scanning, fear etched into his stance. "They're coming for you." With a jolt of adrenaline, Sarah felt her insides twist. They could run, leap into whatever endless night awaited them, or they could confront the truth that might devour them alive. Choose. The anchor urged, voice raised above the cacophony. Every second ticked like a countdown, her pulse racing, panic flooding her brain. What lay ahead? A world consumed by a raging fire, or the endless pursuit of a truth that might just save them? Was it time to fight, or was it best to run away from the unknown? The answer hung on the precipice. As shadows shifted and darkened all around them, would they run headlong into the fire or turn away from the truth gripping its claws into the very fabric of reality? Sarah's heart raced as the stranger's voice echoed in her mind. The kitchen was ablaze with possibilities, and the heat only grew as uncertainty wrapped tighter around her chest. She clutched Jenna's arm harder, her own fear rippling through their bond, merging into a single desperate plea. "We need to move." The newcomer insisted, urgency spilling from his voice as if the mere act of speaking was an escape in itself. His piercing gaze darted towards the door that had just been breached, the fear palpable on his face. Now. This isn't the time for hesitation. Jenna wavered, her eyes darting between Sarah and the chaotic surroundings. What if we get caught? She whispered, trembling as fresh screams emerged from the street beyond. We will if we stay here. Sarah shot back. The fire in her belly ignited at the sight of smoke curling into the room. She was going to let fear dictate their fate. The stranger's presence felt like a lifeline, even as doubt mingled with the smoke. He was offering a chance, though the risk was enormous. All right, she said, her voice steadying against the rising tension. But if this goes south, trust me, he interrupted sharply, fixing her with an intense stare. Trust is our only way out. Before she could argue, he moved again, leading the way through the door that felt simultaneously like a portal to doom and salvation. Behind them, they heard the anchor's voice shouting warnings that fell on deaf ears as they bolted into the smoke-wrought corridor. Outside, the chaos engulfed the night. The air was a thick mixture of panic and acrid smoke mingled with the metallic tang of fear. Sarah struggled to keep her bearings as distant figures darted through the shadows, each one a potential threat. Over here. The stranger gestured urgently, guiding them toward an exit that seemed to pulse with the promise of freedom. As they emerged onto the crowded street, the full weight of their reality crashed over them. Flames flickered and danced in the distance, illuminating the faces of the terrified masses that surged in every direction, a whirlwind of primal instinct. What is happening? Jenna cried, her voice barely rising above the din. People are being hunted, the stranger replied, his voice steady despite the panic surrounding him. It's not just the fire. It's the truth chasing after them. You've seen something that can't be unseen. They want to let you go unless we what? Sarah asked, desperation clawing at her throat, demanding answers that hung in the air like a noose. That he hesitated, sweat trickling down his brow. Unless you face the truth and help me expose it. A loud crash nearby drew their attention, and a surge of bodies swept past them as if they were leaves in a storm. Jenna grabbed Sarah's wrist, yanking her back to the moment. They'll find us. Not if we get to a safe place. The stranger insisted. Follow me. They sprinted into the throng, adrenaline pumping. Shadows loomed, sirens wailed. It felt like pieces of a nightmare pulling them further into darkness. An ominous weight settled over them, the feeling that eyes were relentlessly watching and waiting. Just when they thought they could maneuver through the crowd, a sharp voice cut through the clamor like a knife. There they are. Sarah's heart plummeted. To be caught now meant the end. Run! She shouted, tightening her grip on Jenna's arm. They raced down the alley, the sounds of pursuit echoing behind them, footsteps slapping on the pavement like a countdown. With every step, danger flowed like a river, a tangible force dragging them deeper into a storm, but in that moment of sheer terror, a flicker of hope ignited deep within Sarah. Would the truth lead them to freedom or bind them tighter to chains darker than the night? Where are we going? Jenna gasped, breathless and lost. The stranger paused, glancing back as shadows loomed closer. To find out who's behind this chaos. To discover why they want you silenced. Just then, a blast erupted from the distant plaza, shockwaves hurling debris into the air like confetti from hell. Come on! The stranger yelled, dragging them away from the source of the explosion. As they scrambled into the depths of the shadows, a single thought pierced through the noise: uncovering the truth could change everything. But would they make it long enough to reveal the secrets threatening to consume them? The darkness thickened around them, questions clawing at the edges of their minds, all while the fire behind them spread ever closer. What awaited them at the end of this mad sprint? Would they brave the fire or become part of the fury? The alley felt like a labyrinth, twisting and turning with ominous shadows that seemed to stretch endlessly. Sarah's pulse hammered in her ears, drowning out the frantic shouts of the crowd behind them. With every corner they turned, she fought the panic rising in her throat. Jenna was gasping beside her, eyes wide with bewilderment, her grip tightening as they stumbled over debris scattered like forgotten memories. Keep going. The stranger urged, his voice cutting through the chaos like a beacon. We need to reach the warehouse at the end of the street. I have a plan. Do you even know what you're doing? Sarah shot back, desperate and breathless. Her trust wavered, but she had no choice. What's in the warehouse? It's south, the only place left where we can figure out our next move. Just trust me. He glanced back, his expression a mixture of anxiety and determination. As they raced onward, the air crackled with tension, and the ground shook beneath them as more explosions lit up the horizon. The stench of smoke and fear clung to their clothes. Sarah's mind raced. What did the stranger expect? Did he really hold the answers? A sudden roar of laughter erupted from the shadows. They were being hunted, and whoever was chasing them clearly took pleasure in the game. Sarah dared to look back, heart sinking as she spotted two figures weaving through the chaos, faces obscured but their intentions clear. They moved with an unsettling grace, reckless in their pursuit, and the fire within them felt insatiable. They're coming. Jenna whimpered, teeth chattering against the terror. Quick! The stranger upped his pace, dragging them into a narrow side street where the shadows pressed closer. Here. He pointed to a tiny door half hidden behind a pile of crates. With trembling hands, he pushed it open and ushered them inside, shoving the door closed just as footsteps neared. The musty air inside the warehouse wrapped around them like a heavy blanket. Dim light from a flickering bulb cast eerie patterns on the walls, revealing stacks of forgotten boxes and aging machinery. We need to catch our breath, the stranger said, shoulders slumped as he leaned against the wall. What do we do now? Jenna's voice quivered, her eyes darting around as if expecting monsters to leap from the shadows. We wait, he replied, chest rising and falling. For them to pass. And then what? Sarah pressed, feeling a knot in her stomach. What's the plan? Then we make a stand, he said, determination creeping back into his voice. We can't keep running from the truth. We need to confront it, own it. To do that, we must find the source of this madness. What source? Jenna interjected, confusion washing over her. What are you talking about? I wish I could explain, he said, shaking his head. But it'll take more than words. It's a network, a system built on lies. And you, he paused, looking fiercely into Sarah's eyes, you're part of it. You saw something, didn't you? Her heart dropped at his implication. I don't recall exactly. You've been dodging the memories, pushing them away, but they're still inside you. A loud crash echoed in the distance, sending shivers up their spines. The laughter returned, clearer this time, cut with a blade of menace. We don't have time for this. He shot back, urgency creeping back into his voice. You must remember. Sarah's mind reeled. Could she assemble the fragmented memories of what she'd witnessed? The truth lurked like a ghost just out of reach. If I could remember, if I could just find what, if you can't? Jenna interrupted, fear stark in her voice as shadows shifted ominously outside. What if the truth is worse than we think? What if it's enough? The stranger snapped, breaking through the rising tension. You have to brace yourselves. We need to confront that fear, no matter how painful. If we don't, we're as good as dead. Another echo of impending doom loomed near. The door rattled as if something on the other side poised to push through. The stakes were rising, time slipping away like sand through their fingers. With a sudden rush of determination, Sarah stepped forward. I don't care how painful it is. If I can remember, I'll fight. As the door creaked open, a sense of finality settled over them. Would they be ready to face the truth, or would the revelations pull them deeper into chaos? Then let us uncover it together, the stranger said, steeling himself. But as the darkness of the alley poured inside, revealing another set of eyes watching, Sarah realized, once they opened that door, there would be no turning back. Would understanding bring them hope or drag them into the inferno? In that suffocating moment, the door swung open, releasing a gust of cold air filled with an electric tension. They stared into the darkness, shadowy shapes flickering menacingly just beyond the threshold. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. Could confronting the truth really be worth the risk? "Stay behind me," the stranger ordered, his voice low and steady. He clutched Jenna's arm, guiding her forward while Sarah hesitated. Shadows danced around them, clinging to their bodies like lost spirits searching for solace. We can't just stand here," Jenna stuttered, eyes wide with raw fear. "What if they're waiting for us?" "I know they are," the stranger breathed, casting a wary glance into the abyss. "But we don't have a choice." With a deep breath, Sarah stepped through the doorway, the threshold between fear and resolve. The warehouse loomed before them like a fortress of forgotten horrors. The distant sound of laughter twisted into sinister echoes, reminding them of their ruthless pursuers. "Over there," the stranger whispered, pointing to a narrow corridor lined with grimy old crates, their edges splintered and worn. "If we can just reach the back, maybe we'll find anything that can help." They plunged into the shadows, adrenaline surging through their veins. The air grew thicker, mingling with a lingering scent of rust and decay. As they hurried past the crates, Sarah's heart raced. Was this where she would finally uncover the memories buried deep within her? Suddenly, a sharp sound erupted from within the darkness, a clatter that sent Jenna whirling around, eyes wild with panic. What was that? "Keep moving," the stranger urged, his tone fierce yet tinged with urgency. "We're being hunted, and if we hesitate, they'll catch us." A dart of motion caught Sarah's eye at the far end of the corridor. She squinted, trying to decipher the jumble of shadows. A figure materialized, silhouetted against the flickering light, a tall man cloaked in darkness. Her breath hitched as he stepped forward, revealing a wide grin stretched across his face, eyes gleaming with malicious delight. "Thought you could escape the game, didn't you?" He taunted, his voice smooth like silk yet laced with venom. The laughter of his companions rang out behind him, a haunting chorus of malicious delight, striking fear straight into her heart. "Who are you?" Sarah shouted, trying to sound braver than she felt. The words felt inadequate, a whisper in a storm. "I'm just a friend," he said, stepping closer, his smile unnervingly wide. "But you, Sarah, oh, you're something special. You really should remember." Confusion washed over her, but beneath it lay a flicker of recognition. She had seen him. A flash of memory bubbled to the surface, the flicker of a flame, the glint of steel stop. The stranger shouted, raising a protective arm in front of them. "Stay back." The tension snapped like a tightrope underfoot, and she sensed that the walls of the warehouse were closing in. She felt the familiar knot in her chest tighten, the weight of dread pushing against her. "Do you think you can outrun the truth?" The man sneered, stepping forward, cutting through the dim light. "You're all part of this, just like the rest of us. It's time to accept your role in this madness." Each word dripped with malice, and Sarah's mind whirled. His taunts felt like barbs digging deep, a cruel reminder that maybe the truth was darker than she had ever imagined. "Run!" she yelled, grabbing Jenna's arm, but the stranger stayed anchored. "We can't keep evading what's right in front of us," he shouted back. "You must remember, Sarah." As the shadows crept closer, swallowing the flickering light, a panicked surge of courage rushed through her. "I won't let them take us," Sarah vowed aloud, a promise to herself and the friends at her side, but with that promise came the dawning realization, confronting the truth would bring unimaginable consequences. The laughter grew louder, exploding into shrieks that echoed throughout the warehouse, drowning out her thoughts. "What have we unleashed?" Jenna gasped, her eyes darting. To the dark corners around them, the stranger's voice became urgent again, rising above the chaos. "We'll face whatever comes, we have to." With desperation and determination igniting the air, Sarah felt a warmth enveloping her fear. But was it enough? The laughter turned into a cacophony, a terrible crescendo of looming dread, erupting around them. As more figures emerged from the shadows, hot breath against the nape of her neck, one thought seared through her mind: could the truth truly set them free, or would it shatter them into irreparable pieces? She wasn't sure, but there was no escape. The truth was here, bearing down on them like an oncoming storm. And Sarah knew, once the chains were broken and the memories unleashed, nothing would ever be the same again. "Whatever happens next, we face it together," she whispered to herself, feeling the faint stirrings of hope, but as the doors slammed shut behind them, sealing their fate, one question echoed in her mind: would they survive the truth, or would they become just another lost whisper in the shadows? The air pulsed with dread as the figures swarmed around them, their laughter morphing into a chilling chant. Sarah's heart raced, and she felt as if the world was tilting on its axis. Every instinct screamed for them to flee, yet they were cornered, trapped in this hazy nightmare where shadows held sinister secrets. "Quick!" the stranger barked, snapping her out of her daze. "This way!" He yanked Jenna forward, darting into an opening between the crates. Sarah followed, adrenaline sharpening her focus, but their pursuers lingered just behind, fueled by the thrill of the hunt. "Do you hear them?" Jenna's voice trembled as she clung to the stranger's arm. "They're everywhere." "They're not just shadows," the stranger spat, glancing back, eyes wide with urgency. "They're memories. Our memories." Sarah stumbled, her mind racing as images surged back, fragmented flashes that felt both foreign and achingly familiar. A distant cry, a violent embrace, a thirst for vengeance. "Sarah!" The stranger's voice cut through the fog. "We need to move." She pushed forward, the narrow corridor winding deep into the darkness. With each step, she felt the cold grip of fear tighten around her heart. This place was alive, breathing heavy and hot, wrapping around them like a cocoon, feeding off their terror. With a sudden jolt, she realized the truth didn't just lurk in the shadows. It haunted her. "Try to remember," the stranger urged, his voice a lifeline pulling her back from the abyss. "The truth is our only weapon." Grim determination settled in Sarah's chest. "What if the truth destroys us?" She shot back, panic threading through her words. "Better than remaining lost," he replied fiercely, desperation raw in his voice. "We need to confront it, face everything that made us who we are. Together." The corridor opened into a cavernous space, vast and dark. In the distance, flickering lights sat atop a platform, pulsing like distant stars. But there was something more, something terrible in the air. A sense of judgment, a heaviness of waiting eyes. As they approached, Sarah felt it an overwhelming pressure, pushing down on them, suffocating in its intensity. Figures emerged from the shadows, twisted forms that were part myth, part nightmare. Their eyes glowed with unearthly light, drawing her in with an almost magnetic pull. "Welcome back," one hissed, voice dripping with a sinister mockery. "You've been missed." "Who are you?" Sarah demanded, defensively stepping forward. "What do you want from us?" The figures chuckled, delight lighting their shadows. "Oh sweet girl, it's not what we want," another rasped. "It's what you owe." The stranger stepped beside her, eyes sharp. "We owe nothing. We refuse to play your games." But their laughter echoed like thunder, a storm of sound that curled around her, entwining her like a vine. "You're already in the game, dear friends. The rules are written in blood, and we are but players waiting for the unveiling." Sarah's heartbeat pounded louder, drowning out the fear whispering in her ear. "We can break free," she shouted, her voice trembling yet resolute. Memories flooded her mind, faces echoing with laughter, pain, and betrayal. The truth was closer now. She could feel it. Break free. The figures leaned closer, their grotesque features twisting in amusement. "You cannot escape the revelation of who you really are." As their words sank in, a jolt of understanding shot through Sarah. This wasn't just a search for truth, it was a reckoning. Her past held more than just fear, it whispered secrets that, once revealed, might just grant them the clarity they needed to outmaneuver their shadows, but before she could share her thoughts, the room trembled, sparks flying from the ceiling as if the very fabric of their reality was unraveling. "Time's up!" The leader of the figures shouted, widely grinning, teeth jagged and cruel. "Soon, you will all partake in the truth that binds." Fear surged anew at the ominous shift. With shadows encroaching, intentions revealed like daggers in the dark, Sarah understood this was no coincidence. The screams buried deep within her beckoned, begging to be freed. "Run!" the stranger yelled, urgency slicing through the chaos. The trio bolted toward the flickering lights, shadows clawing at their backs, relentless as they wove deeper into the depths of the warehouse, but as Sarah sprinted, one thought blazed across her mind with terrifying clarity: what if the deepest shadows were formed not by others but by her own choices? What if unearthing the truth would mean facing the darkest parts of herself? The laughter continued to echo, weaving through their flight as they raced toward the flickering lights that pulsed like a heartbeat. And the question lingered heavy in the air: what would they find when the truth finally emerged from the darkness? Without missing a beat, Sarah and Jenna sprinted toward the flickering lights, the shadows chasing them like hungry wolves. Each step felt like treading deeper into an abyss, but the urgency pushed them onward. The stranger, whose resolve had sharpened, kept calling for them to stay close. His steady feet against the crumbling ground reminded Sarah there was still hope, but doubts clung to her like cobwebs. They reached what felt like a sanctuary, a makeshift chamber lit by buzzing fluorescent lights. The glow cast eerie shadows upon the graffitied walls. Crates filled with strange artifacts lay strewn about: documents, fragmented images, remnants of lives intertwined with secrets darker than midnight. "Over there." The stranger pointed toward a large screen mounted on the wall, circuitry tangled like chaos itself. The air was charged, electric with the gravity of secrets waiting to be revealed. Fear twisted tightly at Sarah's chest, but it was accompanied by a daring spark of courage. What lay behind that screen? What would it unveil? "We need to power this up," the stranger urged, already scanning the room for the necessary equipment. Jenna shivered, glancing at the door behind them. "What if they follow us?" "They will," Sarah replied, her voice steadier than she felt. "But we won't let them catch us." The stranger nodded, urgency cloaking his words as he connected wires and pressed buttons. The machine thrummed awake, bringing up a series of images projected on the screen. Documented evidence of corruption, devastation, and moments lost in history flickered to life. Names, faces, all tied to the same shadowy web they now found themselves ensnared in. "Can you see it?" he asked, eyes darting from the screen to Sarah. "This is what they don't want you to uncover. They will hunt you down to keep this buried." As she absorbed the stark reality projected before her, memories began pouring back, each fragment a piece of a sprawling puzzle. Faces of those she thought forgotten began to take shape, a friend's laughter, a cruel betrayal, and then the silence that followed. "Sarah!" Jenna's voice broke her reverie, panic filling the air. Suddenly, figures were advancing toward them, silhouettes darker than shadows, eyes gleaming with malicious intent. "They've found us!" Jenna yelped, lunging toward Sarah as fear washed over them. "Get behind me!" the stranger shouted, stepping in front to shield them. But fear surged through Sarah, an unyielding urge to confront the danger. "No!" Sarah gasped, her voice cracking with newfound conviction. "We can't keep running. If we stand, we can change this." She didn't just want to survive, she wanted a reckoning. It felt like a whirlwind, the shadows closing in like a storm, but something surged inside her, a fierce, unwavering strength. She stepped in front of the stranger, heart pounding. "You don't have to do this," she cried, the urgency echoing deep. The lead figure paused, a twisted expression of surprise flickering across his face. "Do you think this act of bravery will save you?" "We won't bow to fear anymore," Sarah declared, standing firm. The figure stepped closer, his smile twisting grotesquely, but Sarah felt a flame ignite within her. You can't control the truth, she began, gathering her strength. And we will reveal it. You'll be known for your darkness. The tension held as time seemed to stretch. The shadowy figures hesitated, perhaps sensing the shift in her resolve. One stepped forward, a burlap mask draped over their features. You're foolish to challenge us. The truth is not yours to wield, he growled, but at that moment, Sarah's sobering memories crystallized into the realization that she had to own her past, own the truth. No. She shouted, her voice echoing across the shadows, energy coursing through her veins. The truth is ours, and we will fight for it together. The stranger joined her side, determination burning brightly in his gaze. Like wildfire, Jenna stepped beside them, anchoring their resolve. The shadows recoiled, confusion etched on their faces. Perhaps it was their collective defiance, or maybe the resonance of their truth that for the first time made them recoil. The head figure snarled, eyes narrowing. You think bravery can shield you? In that moment, realization swept through Sarah. Each fleeting memory was a weapon, every ounce of pain had built her into this warrior ready to reclaim the narrative. Together, she echoed, sharing a look with Jenna and the stranger, finding unity in fear and hope. A dark laugh echoed back, drowning her words. But to Sarah, the laughter simply fueled her fire. We are not afraid anymore. She shouted, her voice rippling through the chaos, and as the darkness loomed closer, Sarah understood every battle she fought, every truth she faced would forge a path to light. In that exhilarating moment, they surged forward, united against their once starlit horizons darkened by shadows. Together, they would unveil the truth and become the voices that could shatter the silence eerie and suffocating. Together, they would ignite change. As chaos unfurled, Sarah could feel the weight of her choices blossoming around her. Would they survive? Only time would tell, but the fire within her heart blazed with an urgency that could not be extinguished. The truth would set them free if only they had the courage to face it. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the breathtaking stories to come. Smash the like button now to fuel the algorithm and show your support. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this electrifying conclusion. Instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see what unfolds next. This is the moment to stand up for what you believe in. Don't wait even one more second to share.